peeps, it's Anna from Crafting with Anna. I've been asked a few times on how I do my covers for my books, especially with the corresponding cardstock. So in this tutorial I'm going to start and make a new book which is going to be aimed at men, but obviously depending on what papers you want to use it can be made for anybody. The method's the same for all of them. So we have chipboard, which I've already cut to size to save time, and I'm sure you don't want to watch me cutting. Now this is 2000 micron chipboard. As you can see, it's two different colours. It really makes no difference because nobody's going to see what colour it is anyway. Now my spine, if you're wanting to know, is 3.5 inches wide by 10 inches long. That's that one. And then you will need two of 8 inches wide by 10 inches long. Once again, they're both in 2000 micron. 1000, 1500, 2000 is about the best I find because it doesn't bend for longevity really. No other reason. I just like it a bit thicker because to me it seems a bit more substantial. We're going to be using for our cover some chocolate brown cardstock from Tonic, which is 216 GSM. It's 12 by 12 and we're going to need 2 pieces to cover our chipboard. Then I've got a pack of, just from the range, I find it a really good cardstock. It's 210 GSM and I think it's $2.99 a pack, so when I go in I usually grab 3 or 4 packets. There's 25 sheets in, but I find it really good quality and it's just nice and solid for the pages. So that's what we're going to be doing our pages in. And then I've got 2 pads here. Obviously you can choose your own pad, you don't have to use the same one as me. As you can see, they're from the Works. What Works had plenty in, they've got very little these days. Haven't bought any for ages off there. This one's called Rustic Atmosphere and there's some amazing sheets in here. You know, look at that, that's amazing. The colours are absolutely stunning. Just a quick flick through so you can see which ones I'm going to be using. I'll have a look properly in a second and decide which one I'm going to use for my covers, because I always take my covers out first. Put them to one side. Sometimes I do my covers first, sometimes I do the pages first, but I always like to take my cover for the back and the front out first. That way then I know I'm not going to use them. I think, no, that's what I'm going to use, which I used to at one point. Anyway, we've got 2 of those. Shouldn't need 2, but if you happen to like one pattern more than another, then you'll use the extras out of another one, of another pad. So that's all our materials. We'll put them to one side for now, and hopefully we can keep all this in shot. I apologise if it's not. So we need our tape, our 2 sheets of 12 by 12 and a pair of scissors. Right, 12 by 12 is going to have to be put together. Just a slight overlap. I usually do it the thickness of my tape. If you like this video, I'd be honoured if you would hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell, and then when I post more, which I will be doing, you can be notified when I upload them, and then you can have a laugh along with me, see what mistakes I made, how I managed to cover them, because let's admit it, we all make mistakes and we all think, what can we do to cover it? Right, so I've put my tape on the edge, as close to the edge as possible. I'm just going to burnish that down, give it a right good grab. And I haven't got my poker tool. Well, that's a good start, isn't it? Where's my poker tool? Oh, come out. Thank you. Right. And we'll pull that off. And then as carefully as you can, match it up. Start at the bottom or at the top if you prefer, choice is yours. Make sure it's nice and straight and you've got no tape showing. Line it up, gently take it down and give it a burnish. I usually burnish it on both sides, which makes life just a little bit easier. And if it's slightly out, and I don't know why, but just lately a few packets of Tonics cardstock's been slightly different sizes in the packets. As you can look, this is both 12 by 12. I haven't cut it, I've taken it out of the packet and that's it. And this sheet's bigger than that one. You can just see slight overlap. But that doesn't matter because nobody will see that bit anyway. That will be on the inside of your book cover. Turn it back over, and like I said, you will need 2 pieces of 8" by 10" and a piece 3.5" wide. Now a 3.5" wide should give you a spine for 6 pages, which is your 12 sides. It's very rare that I work in less than 6 pages. Sometimes more, but never less. I keep trying to make a book with 4 pages, but I always end up with 6. Don't feel right. Right, so just centre it on your page. Make sure it's nice and straight. If you need to, just bring in a big ruler, which I'm sure everybody's got, and just place it at the top so you can keep them all generally straight. And that's the way it's going to be. Okay, now some people say leave an 1/8 of an inch gap. I prefer to leave a bigger gap because when I've covered it, I like to be plenty of room for my papers to go inside, because that way then they don't struggle. And also sometimes if I make a hidden spine, that needs to go in that gap as well. So you do need a good bit of room, and I usually find about there is perfect for that. Absolutely perfect for that. Right, so that's there, which is pretty straight each way. So we'll start now by sticking these bits down. Just get my glue. Now I'm going to use collal for all this, because I find this collal tends to grab better, and it also gives you a bit of manoeuvrability, because there's nothing worse than sticking your chipboard down and then finding it's the wrong place and not being able to move it. I've got some Deco Art glue, but it's too fast for drying and I can't do with it. I like a bit of manoeuvrability, because me and straight don't mix. Never ever get them straight first time. Make sure you've got plenty of glue to cover it, because obviously it's going to be attached to your cover. Okay, right, make sure you don't get it all over your hands, which I always do. I'm a mucky pup. So we'll put that one there, which is nice. Let's just make it so snug. Get my bone folder and just squeeze it down. Now this bone folder is a We Are Memory Keepers one, and it's a godsend. It's full of glue and God knows what. We'll keep cleaning it, but it's absolutely brilliant. You can get a nice bit of pressure on it, and I just love it to death. It's solid. I can't remember how much I paid for it. I think it was £10 or something, but oh wow, £10 well spent. Right, that should be down enough. Now at this point I'm not going to turn it over and do it on the side. I'll do that when I put the rest in. Now I always try and keep my join on the spine, because you're going to cover the spine anyway, so it helps hide it. rather than it being on the front cover. Always prefer it on the back, on the spine. I mean, you don't have to. Depends on what size. Oh, flip. This bottle, it pours out sometimes. Should have wasted more than I've used. It's a good job it's only cheap. Now some people say bookbinding glue, but I can't do with that bookbinding glue. I find that it's right thick. They say water it down, but I'd rather not. Making sure I've got a nice gap. Yeah. Press that down just so as it don't move. Get my big bone folder and just press it down. Like I say, make sure you've got a nice big gap because you want your front covers to open and close really nicely. Really nice. Just move that out of the way a minute so we can press that end down. Right, let's bring that back. If you wonder where I got my ruler from, I got it from the range. It was £9.99 and it's a belter. It's brilliant. I got fed up with faffing with a little ruler when I was cutting A3 sheets. I thought I've got to have a big one, and I bought that last weekend, and it's so nice to hold. It's a nice weight. It's perfect. You can buy cheaper, but that was the one I really liked. Make sure I get that right to ends. Okay. Right. Lithium. Right corners. Sometimes you'll find it soaks in a little, but just a little bit extra. Right. That should do. And then once again, like I say, line it up with making sure you've got a nice even gap and taking it up to there. Press down. Now that's moved. It's a trouble with collal. Bring it down. This is why I say I like a bit with manoeuvrability. Let's move it out a little. There we go. I mean, you can measure your gap with a ruler. I prefer to do it by eye. It's me and rulers, we're not much good together. Struggle to see small markings on it. Is that right? Good press down. There we go. Right, we can take away the ruler now. We'll turn it over and we'll do it on the back. Don't be afraid to take it right to ends. It will also help train your paper for folding. Give it a really good press. Excuse me. If you want to spread all that glue out nice and firm. Right up to the edges. Right. Now we're not going to fold it yet for our creases. We need it to dry a little. But as you can see, nice. Okay. Right. So now your edges, what I'm going to do is training them. Right, what I do is I get my big foam boulder, bone folder even, underneath, bring it round, I apologise if my head's in shot a lot, and just bring it round like that, because it just helps train it, which makes it a lot easier to fold. Right, turn it round, do it other side, and again same way. Bring it over. As you can see, it's starting to want to go that way. Do the ends. Oh, don't normally work on this bench when I'm doing my covers. I usually work on my other bench, but my camera setup's here, so bring it down and then do the other side. And while you're doing all this, you see, it's just giving it time to adhere to your board. Just time to settle off a little. Because if you do it too soon, you'll find that your paper bulges, and a bulging paper is not good. Right, so you can see now where your corners are, because you've scored it all around. Your paper's sitting nicely around the edges, which makes it a lot easier to glue and tape. Now I use both. I use glue and tape. Not that I don't trust my glue, it's just I don't trust me. Right, so our corners, what I tend to do is, some people cut right into them. I tend to cut straight across and leaving a good gap like that. And again, not too steep, but keep a good way, because it gives you a nice edge. And if you take it in quite nicely, it'll give you a nice square edge. And it's always nice to have a nice square edge. If you don't get it exactly right and don't get a square edge, and you think, oh no, I've got a gap, you can always cheat and use book corners. They look nice and they cover a multitude of sins. So, okay, that's them done. Right, so we've got all our pieces cut. It's all glued in nicely in place. Let's just give it another smooth down. I wiped all this down yesterday. Don't know where all the bits come from. Right, tape. So I'm going to put some across here, but I'm not going to go across my gap. People do, but I find if I go across my gap, when you open and close the pages, you can hear the tape clicking, and that annoys me. So I don't go across my gap. It's that way that, and it also stops any bulk from getting in. So right way across the top, like that. No matter if it doesn't go all the way along, because you're going to put glue on it anyway. So let's just burnish that down. Get rid of any air bubbles. as you can see with that bit. You want a good strong firm hold. Right, that's that bit. And then I'm going to take it straight across the top of this as well. And there we go. Just take that bit off. And again, burnish it all down. And there we go. Right. So now we'll take our tape off. Now I just cut my chipboard with a craft knife on an A3 cutting mat, and I find that's quite ample. My guillotine is supposed to be able to do up to 1500 microns, but I don't want it to ruin my blade, so I'm not going to use that. Right, we'll use this one. No, this one. And this one's got collallin again, but it's just a bit easier because it's a smaller bottle. Right, now take it right into paper's edge, the base of the grey board, because it sticks it to edge and it gives a lovely clean finish. Take it all the way up, all over your tape. Oops. Right the way up, cover, like I said, cover all your tape. Okay, right, we'll use that one. Take it from the middle and bring it up and round. Up and round. There we go. Towel. Oh. Press it well down. If your edges aren't straight, don't fret, because you're going to add an extra piece on the inside which will cover this, so don't worry about it too much. And then when you do that bit, just gently, and I mean gently, take it across there. Don't do it too hard because you can end up ripping cardstock. Been there, done that one. And then I have to start all over again. And when you're doing an order, it's not funny because it's costing you. There we go, it's one bit done. Turn it round, we're going to do exactly the same to the other side. Well, some people actually cover it all. I do it as I'm going. I find it easier. I know exactly where I'm sticking my tape then. And it's the same idea across each piece. Don't have to be straight, which is a good job. Straight across like that. Tear that off. And along the edge of here. The way across. Now the tape I'm using, it's nothing special. It's some I got from the Crafty Life show last July, and I bought tons of it, and I've still got some left. I think it was 10 rolls for £1. Good stuff, very good stuff. Little raw labels, take it right to edge. What's that? I mean, obviously I know I'm doing an 8 by 10, but you can do whatever size you want. All the books that are made with chipboard, and I've done one with foam board, made exactly the same way. You choose your size, buy your paper to fit. Excuse me. And again with the glue right into the edge. Don't have to be a lot. Just helps it stick down, makes it more secure instead of it floating. Cover it all. Oops. I found now that I've done these, they're all my own sizes. All my tonic book sets sit idle because they seem so small after doing my own sizes. I mean, they're nice to do, don't get me wrong, but they seem tiny. And I think, how on earth did I manage? And that's cracked there, never known that before, but we can sort that. And you see, at this point, I haven't yet gone into my creases. I like to give it all a chance to dry. Right, there we go. Look how that's cracked. Little tip, guys. Tiny little bit of glue on your fingers. If it cracks, just run it over. And leave it to dry. Smooth it down. Never known tonics to crack. Covered loads of books with it. Well, as you see, it happens to the best of us. I'm not saying I'm the best, I'm saying anything but. Right. So let's do the same at this side. Piece down there, right to the edge. You don't need it too far down. Oh. And then Same again on there, right to the end. There we go. And again, burnish it down. I've got a bit overhanging over there, but we'll sort that in a minute. Just follow that bit in. That's it. And take that bit off. Right. So where we've got our overhang on either side, flatten that down. There and there, up close to the edge, and it'll give you a nice square corner. Okay, right. Take that in there, run it along. And bring it up, starting from the centre again, bring it in, squeeze it in, that's it. If you've got a slight overhang at one side, you can just trim it. There we go. Just trim the tiniest piece off, bring it down. Trim it again. There we go. Smooth it down. 1, 2, and again, just nice on your hands, on your edges, well, your arms. Okay. Right. Last piece. Down there, down at the very edge. There. And at the edge there. Right. Burnish it down. And then we'll repeat the same steps as we did the other side. Now in this bottle I've got here, it's some of that Collall, just in case you're wondering why my Anita's tacky glue is different to anybody else's. I couldn't cope with hanging on to such a big bottle all the time, so I just decanted some from there into here. There we go. And again, bring it up and across. You see, by training it earlier, you end up in a really easy fold. Just trim that bit. Like that. There we go. Burnish it down. And there we are. One covering. Okay. So as you can see, nice and easy. Rub that bit off. And we're going to cover that as part of the spine anyway, so we can take most of it off now. So there we go, that's that. Right, now we're going to train it to crease before we put our inside panels in. So, gently, because if you do it too hard you'll go through paper. Just gently ease it in. Don't bend yet, but just gently ease that in. Now I'm planning on doing a nice easy spine in here. It won't be using any dies, it'll be using my guillotine and my scoreboard. Now you can use any type of spine you wish, but I like using these ones because it allows your page to turn so nicely. Right, now while you've just scored your, you can either do this with a ruler. Tell you what, I'll show you with a ruler. You might find it a bit easier because you've got both sides at once. Just hold it in, don't force it, and just bring it up. As you can see, we've got plenty of movement, which gives me lots of space for pages to go in the cover. And you see, and again. There we go. That's that bit done. Now it's at this point you decide how you want your closure. Do you want ribbons? Do you want hook and eye? Do you want any other way you can think of? I need to get some hook and eyes. But for this one, because I'm doing it for a gent, I am not going to put any closure at all on it. I'm just going to keep it as a book. I don't know whether you saw my other one on Making Memories with Jodie on Facebook, but I didn't have any closure at all on that one. I did make a belly band for it, but I decided I didn't really need a belly band. So the belly band is all made up and surplus to requirements. But there we go. We have our book. It folds nice and easy, lots of movement in it. It's not cracking on the seam, it's not bubbling or anything else. Okay. So now we need to do the inside of our pages. Now because I'm doing black pages, I couldn't decide whether to do black or brown pages, but I've decided that I'm going to do black pages because I tend to think it might make the colours pop a little bit more. Do I do the inside black or do I do the inside brown? Good question. I think I'll do the inside black and the outside of the cover in brown. So we'll get our paper. I'm going to bring a couple of sheets out. So, right. Right then, so now I could use A3. I did mean to go to range. But I don't know how much A3 I've got. Oh, let's have a look. Oh yeah, I've got enough. So we'll use the A3 black card. Okay. Just saves messing about. I'm going to need the one sheet. 2. Oh, okay. Fortunately, I have 2. 2.5. Oh, we'll have 2.5. Perfect. There we go. Makes that a bit easier. Right. So what we can do to save cardstock is if we take it into the middle. Can I get it that way? Yes. Look at that. Hardly wants trimming at all, that a bit. So if we measure that, now I'm going to bring that in quite a bit because I find that when I put my covers on, I like to overlap the edges. My picture covers, I like to overlap the end. Or do I make a border? No, I'll make a border, decided. A nice little black border. So, let's just put that there for a minute. Take our pencil and bring that down and take it up. Excuse my head if it's in. And we need to trim that just a fraction on the edge there. Bring it down because I want to put the crease of my 2 lots of paper in the centre of the spine, because if I keep it like this and it's going to end up too bulky in our creases, and you're not going to have free movement of your books, and it's going to make it hard work for the person that receives the book to open and close. And if you're not putting a fastening on it, it's going to end up so I'm going to cut it about there. So just bear with me a second. Now we only needed a fraction off the bottom. Now I keep all my spare bits of black in the bag, and then when I'm doing a black one and I'm doing them in doing my pockets, I use all my spares. There we go. Now that one is perfect. Okay, get our next piece. Take that up there so as it matches the edge of there. Now we need to cut that down to even that one, and also to there. Right. To a black card is you can never find a silver pencil line. There we go. And that's our second piece. So let's just make sure. Turn it that way. Makes it fit a bit better. Right. So there we go. 2 pieces to cover the inside. Now I'm going to put some tape down there, the edge, but not all the way to the bottom. Okay, and a piece down that side gives a much better hold. And some down there again, right to the edge. And then the same there again. And if you don't get an exact edge, don't worry about it. Oh, I think I'll put a piece down there as well. There we go. Let's just make sure it's nice and burnished. If you don't normally burnish it, you don't need to. I always find it's best. There we go. Right. That one. That one. And that one. So it don't take long at all to make your book cover. Right. I'll cover it all. Make sure it's all nicely covered, because you don't want it to move and you don't want it to come up. Like dry Christmas trees. And that's fast approaching. Too fast. Oh, right. Yeah, that's the right way up. Make sure it's nice and even all the way around. Nice and straight. And then burnish it. Now at this point you don't need to score. Towel. You know, I have as many towels that I use in my craft room, and they're always constantly full of glue. And my other half goes mad. Especially when I've got to put them in the wash. What happened to that? Oh, that's going to come out. But it's PVA. 9 times out of 10, so it usually does, because it's water based. Like I said, don't be frightened to give it a good push down, because you don't want any big air bubbles in. Let's pop it on. Does anybody use the finger lift tape? Is it any good? Does it actually finger lift? Because sometimes it takes me forever to get my tape off. Adam, which side is it? That way. Okay, wrong bottle. Remember, get it all covered all the way up to your corners. You see, it hasn't taken long at all, has it? I mean, fair comment, I did have mine pre-cut, but it doesn't take long to cut it, to be honest. And making your book cover, it doesn't take long at all. And it's a straightforward process. Start on the outside and keep it away from the tape for now. Bring that up. That's it. There we go. Now it's at this point that I leave it to dry a little, because when you're doing it on the inside it does tend to what I call it. So usually what I do at this point is I leave it to dry while I decide, or I even cut my a spine out. Now I don't know whether you've done a spine like I'm going to show you, but I love these spines. My favourite. Well, they are at the moment anyway. It was a couple of weeks, might change my mind, gone on to something else. Okay, so there we go. We have one book covered inside and out. Okay. A lot of creases in this, and I've got a big air bubble there. Doesn't matter, that's getting covered, so you won't see that. Right, so there we go. We'll leave that to dry for a bit. I'll go and have a quick cup of coffee while that does, and then I will be back to show you how to do the spine. Stay tuned. Welcome to part 2. Right, so our book is left drying, so we'll just pop it to one side while we make our spine. Now for this one we need scoreboard, cardstock obviously, one's no good without the other. Put that out of the way. And I'm going to have a 2-inch leading. Leading means the edge, that's what I call a leading anyway, I don't know what you might call it. And I have 2 inch, so we're going to score at 2 inch. Now you might not have made one of these spines before, but I absolutely love them. The pages turn so easy, and I'm going to score it a few times. I usually do it 4. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. And then I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. So that's at 2 inch, 2.5 inch. And then I want my page holder to be 1/2 inch. Okay, so 3/4 inch, sorry, not 1/2 inch. I've lost myself. There. Okay, so we'll score down there. And we're going to cut this right on that score line. Okay. Get a trimmer. Now, a little tip with these trimmers, if you've got a piece of paper, it's only fine, and you need a small strip cutting off, and it actually just comes under there, a bit of paper. Just have a little bit of tape, put your paper in, secure it down with a tiny little bit of tape, top and bottom, and then trim, and you don't have to worry about it moving in there. Okay, hence my bit of tape, just in case you wonder what that was for. Like I said, I'm gonna just move that out of the way a minute. I'm gonna cut on that 3/4 of an inch mark, and you'll see why in a minute. Right, just make sure my line is bang on there, because that there, when you fold it, is going to be, I'm going to fold it on that second score in from the top. Okay, so I've got my 2-inch leading, I've got my 1/2 inch gap there, and then I've got that bit. Fold that bit up, grease it down, and then burnish it, and you will see why in a minute. But these spines are lovely. With these spines, the only thing you've got to remember is when you're decorating your pages, to make sure that you leave at least 3/4 of that spare on your page for your page to sit into, because if you don't, it all goes horribly wrong. When you spent so much time doing your book cover. Now I'm going to score it, but I'm going to burnish it both ways, because I want movement in my card for my pages. So you see, that moves nice now. Okay, so that's one. Now the second piece is going to be different. Okay, make sure I've got it right way up. And then I'm going to score at, on this piece, I'm going to score at 3/4 of an inch. Or did I do an inch? Lost myself now. I did an inch. Right. So I'm going to score at 1 inch. Then I'm going to score at 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to score at 1 inch again, which is so that makes it 2.5 inch. And once again, I'm going to cut on this line that I'm scoring now at 2.5 inches. So bring the trimmer in and cut on that line. Okay, make sure it's straight. Now this piece we're gonna fold and score on all the lines, because that is our outside edge. Okay, so score that, turn it round and bring it round and score, fold on the other line. Okay. Remember, do them both ways, just to break all the fibres. And again on this piece. Okay. And then when you put them together, you've got your gap in between your pages there, and then when these two are together, you'll butt them up nice and tight like that. Okay, can you see that? And your page will go in there, and that gives you a really nice. Now that bit I always decorate. I also decorate in there, but that then is where your page sits. So you've got lots of room for your page to sit in and to turn. So that's one page. That will be the start of your next page. So we'll do it again. We'll score at 1 inch. One and a half inch. And then 2.5 inches. Now you will need a couple of sheets for this. Okay, let's trim that one. Make sure you've got it nice and straight. And that's the next page folder. So score, just burnish it outside, and then on your other one. Do it both ways. Because this then, like I said, it gives you, it breaks all the fibres down. And then you see, then again, when that goes up to there, that gives you 2 pages for your pages to sit in there, and the start of your next one. Okay. Oh, don't need that yet. I'm going to have enough. Yeah. So we're going to score again at 1 inch. So it's quite repetitive. 1.5 inch, and then 2.5 inch, and then we'll cut that bit off. Okay. We don't need that bit. So turn it round and score on the other one. Not score, burnish. I don't know why I keep saying score. Turn it over. And then that gives us 3 pages. So as you can see, we're building it up, and you're ending up with the same thing as you would with any other spine, but you've got space for 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then your next one. Another sheet of paper. Score at 1. 1.5, and at 2.5, and again cut. I mean, you don't have to score it at 2 inch. You can just cut it. Prefer to do it this way. I know where I'm at then, but you don't have to. If you feel more comfortable just cutting it instead of scoring it. Burnish it down on the other side, like that, making sure you keep it straight, and then again, so that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Excuse me. Score at 1 inch. 1.5 inches, and 2.5 inch. Okay, trim. Make sure that's nice and straight. Sure by now you're getting the idea. I don't think I'm a pro, I'm anything but. I've had no lessons, I've never been to a workshop in my life. If I'm unsure on how to do something, my first port of call is YouTube. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then last piece we want to score at is 1 inch. One and a half inch, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, and then we can cut with a good 2-inch gap. 1, 2. Right, so we can cut there because this is our last, so that's like our leading on the first piece. Okay, so I want to mark this one at the top. Again, we'll burnish it down. 1, 2. Now you don't need to do that one, but make sure you do it both sides, make your pages nice and easy. Right, so by doing that now, we have our spine. So there we go. As you can see, we have all our different pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our leads. Okay, so that's them done. The scoreboard's done with now for 5 minutes. I didn't do with my book. This is right. So put them to one side for a minute. Now this should be pretty dry. So we'll go into just nice and gentle, follow that line. Where our crease is. I'm going to use this one, it's a bit thicker edge. And just gently feed that into there. Don't do it too hard, you'll root your paper. But just gently work it in. And the same for this one. Just nice and gentle. Okay, I'm going to do this one with this. That's it. I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to put it on there and I'm going to gently bring it up. Just nice and gentle. See? Sitting in there nicely. Now this is why I said you need a nice big gap, because it gives your book room. Okay, that's one. And again on this side, just keep your ruler in there and gently, don't rush it because you need to train your paper. And there we go. That's the inside of your book done. Okay. So there we go. The inside of your book done and the spine done. And of course, you can have it any way you like. I might put that bit at the bottom where it thingy, but don't worry too much about that. So there we go. 1 8x10 book cover and the spine made. So, and in the next part we'll put the spine in and we'll cut the pages. Don't forget to hit that button and the bell if you want to catch up on more. It's been fun working with you, peeps. Love it. Love you all to death. Catch you later. Bye.